just another week. Bitcoin enjoyed a volatile few days as a controversial AI report spooked the stock market and inflation data came in hot. And then the storm breaks. War flares up again in the Middle East as US and Israeli forces pound Iran, which responds by attacking many neighboring states. Here's what it all means for the markets. Jane Street to blame? A controversial lawsuit accuses the high-frequency trading firm of being behind the collapse of Terra in 2022. We look at whether SBF's alma mater really is to blame. And we'll have the usual top-quality TA, tweets of the week, what to watch out for, and hot takes aplenty. This is the Coin Bureau News, live. Yes, this is the Coin Bureau News Live. Welcome, everyone. We are joining you, as you may have seen from my reminder video, from a rather interesting corner of the planet at the moment. But as you can see, we are both here. We are both streaming, although not in our usual studio. Nick, how are you, sir?
Yeah, great, man. I had a very eventful weekend. Quite quiet though. Not much going on. A few thunderstorms here or there. I heard a few loud bangs.
Yeah, I heard those as well. Yeah. It was quite a few of them actually, yes. So it has been a little bit of an eventful weekend, and don't worry, we are going to talk about that a bit later. We are going to stick very much to the events and what they mean for the markets. We're not going to get into the politics of it, which I'm sure you're all very relieved about. But I would like to say thanks to everyone in the comments before we kick off. For all the good wishes. We are all safe and well. Everyone at Coin Bureau here in the UAE at the moment is safe and well, and long may it continue. But yes, thank you for all those good wishes. We appreciate them very much. So we are going to talk about the week in Bitcoin. We're going to talk about what's been going on in the Middle East, and we're going to be talking about Jane Street. Before we get going, if you could smash that like button, you'll see the little progress bar beneath Nick there. Smash that like button. What do we do if we get to 100% likes, Nick?
We'll come out from hiding. We'll stream the next few. I don't know. What do you think, Guy?
We'll stream the next one live from my garden, shall we?
From your garden or from the palm, where they can catch an air show as well.
Yes, exactly. So yes, hit the like button if you're glad that everyone at Coin Bureau is well. And yes, I will say before we start, it is a pretty crazy situation, but it's there's a lot of FUD flying around. There's a lot of misinformation flying around, and we will address some of that. But everyone is fine, although it is a little bit surreal. I will say that. But Nick, let's get going with it, and shall we? And talk about what went down in Bitcoin and crypto generally last week before it all kicked off the weekend.
Yeah, it was a crazy week either way, right? So we started off with Monday. If you'll cast your minds back to there was this now famous report that was released by Citi Research, which basically was actually a Substack article that broke down a scenario of what the world could look like in 2028. And it was a kind of like a doomer piece. But this Substack article took off like wildfire and essentially tanked the market, sent tech stocks crashing, like software stocks crashing, as if it's been a tough time for them either way. And basically led to a massive crash in the markets. And everyone was talking about this report. And there was also a few days later a Citadel report that refuted it, and we've actually got a video coming out about this in the next few days on Coin Bureau Finance, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Yeah,
very interesting, and particularly interesting. We now live in an age where a Substack post can crash the markets. That's a real 2026 thing, isn't it? So, wow. Okay, so that takes us to Tuesday, and the longest State of the Union speech on record, courtesy
of 2 hours.
How long? Sorry,
I think it was over 2 hours.
Good grief! I mean, that's a long time.
Move over Gettysburg Address. Move over Lincoln. Move over everyone else, man. Trump is on fire. mean,
he's
2
just
hours.
got a lot to say, hasn't he? He's got a lot to say. So yes, longest on record. I guess if we had to sum it up, it's tired of winning. If we had to sum it up in 3 words, tired of winning. That was very much what Trump was on
We're
about.
going to win. He had his infamous line, we're tired of winning. We win too much. You'll be tired of winning. And he also said, quote, everybody is way up and their portfolios are gaining, which I wonder which market he was talking of. Definitely not the crypto market. In fact, for an over 2-hour speech, for all the crypto community, all the crypto bros hoping that he would mention the word Bitcoin or crypto at least once, just once, the most pro-crypto president, the crypto capital of the world, not a single mention in a 2-hour speech, which touched on everything there was, except no mention of Bitcoin and crypto. Crazy.
Gosh,
not even World Liberty.
Not even World Liberty. He didn't. Oh goodness me. Well, what a shock. What a shock. So yes, well, given the sort of current state of the market, I kind of think him not mentioning crypto is actually a good thing. Anyway, Bitcoin actually seemed to agree because on Wednesday it sort of bounced back up again. It went above 67k and then went above 68k. So people are getting all excited about that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and I think that but I think that the reason for this was because many of the Twitter investigators out there have attributed this to the fact that just prior to that in the morning, there was a lawsuit that was released by Terraform Labs against Jane Street, accusing them of market manipulation. And this relates to the theory that's been flying around on crypto Twitter for a few months, they're called the Jane Street 10 a.m. slam, where these Twitter accounts and investigators claim that Jane Street had been shorting and tanking Bitcoin at 10 a.m. on Eastern time on every single day, and this has been helping to the poor price action. But there's a lot more to this, and we'll get onto that in a bit.
Yeah. Well, whatever Jane Street was up to, Nvidia was hogging the headlines as well on Wednesday because it absolutely crushed it in terms of earnings. As you can see there, $215 billion in revenue, an absolute monster of a company. I guess in terms of the AI bubble potentially bursting, those, Nvidia is the kind of bellwether for the whole AI industry, really, isn't it? So I guess that strong performance sort of pushes those concerns about the AI bubble bursting maybe back for a little bit. I don't think it's going to silence them completely, but it certainly was reassuring for investors, wasn't it?
It was indeed. Although Nvidia itself the stock price didn't react that much because I think there was little guidance in terms of the future earnings and stuff. So investors kind of priced it in. Then that took us to Thursday, where we had some bullish news of more TradFi integrations. In this particular case, Citibank is going to make Bitcoin, quote, bankable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The banks getting more and more involved. Meanwhile, Senate Democrats were meeting to discuss the market structure bill on Thursday as well. So suggesting that there might be progress there. This is obviously all of this stuff we're talking about has kind of been not rendered obsolete, by what's happened since. But it is a bit more moot now. But still, there was definitely progress last week, which took us to Friday. Bitcoin wasn't feeling that progress though; it sank back below 66k, right?
Yeah, and I think on Friday we also probably got what could be seen as one of the ultimate bottom signals, a mainstream news article coming out with a headline like that. Crypto is pointless. Not even the White House can fix that. Opinion guest essay on the New York Times. Is that a bottom signal guy?
Well, it certainly feels like one. Was it the New York Times, do you remember, that put out that article, say, I think in sort of 2017, everyone is getting hilariously rich and you're not. That, I think, maybe it's...
With those two guys in the sweater, like the Ethereum sweater and the Bitcoin sweater, and everyone's getting hilariously rich in crypto and you're not. I think that that article today would basically be like, that is fake news. That is fake.
We retract. We retract our article from several years ago. And And well, I guess Bitcoin was struggling not just because the New York Times was choosing to dunk on it, but also because the PPI, producer price inflation, came in hot, didn't it?
Very hot, above expectations on the headline number, 2.9 versus 2.6 expected, and then the core 3.6 versus 3. So it wasn't looking too good. Then that brought us to the weekend, and it looked like it was going to be a quiet weekend indeed. Was too good to be true. Yeah,
it certainly was. It certainly was. So obviously we'll talk about this in a bit more detail shortly. But yeah, obviously this was. I don't know. I don't think it's unfair to say probably a lot of people saw it coming at some point, given the massive military buildup that had been going on there. But at the same time, there were talks going on, weren't there? And it seemed like maybe there was some progress being made in those talks, and then kaboom.
Yep, and it seems as if at the moment of the announcement or the press about this for the attack, Bitcoin also took a missile strike to the price, and we see the dump dump there at the price of Bitcoin, and all the crypto markets sold off immediately. But we did recover a little bit.
We did recover a little bit, yes, but I think this probably, given given that we're seeing oil prices rise as a result and what have you, this is not good news as far as inflation and rate cuts go, right? I think, not much chance of a rate cut coming.
No chance. So what's to come this week? Well, there's war, economic data, some AI doom, maybe a new Epstein file release. You never know. So keep applying. We just need to throw that in there. Another cat amongst the pigeons, right?
Yeah.
And in terms of price action, quickly on the weekly chart, I got a quick chart to show you on the weekly. This is the 6th week in a row where we've had a negative week, negative close on the week, unfortunately. And we also closed last week below the 200-week exponential moving average, which shows that momentum is unfortunately not on our side on the weekly. And it seems as if that 200-week simple moving average, which we've been pointing to for the past few months now, is going to be where we could potentially bottom, where Bitcoin is heading. So keep that level in check, guys. It's about 58K right now. And then on the daily, this is interesting. We could be going to some sort of a breakout. Now, we've had a few of these breaks lower in the past few weeks. We had that bear flag last week where we broke lower. And now we're at a place where we're going into the symmetrical triangle where we could have a break. It'll be interesting to see whether we break lower and continue the downward momentum on continuation of that trend, or whether we may have a bit of a relief rally going into the week. So we'll have to keep an eye on where we go with this symmetrical triangle. But if you guys are looking to trade the markets right now and take the most of the opportunity in this volatility, and we couldn't think of a better place to do this than on our first brand partner, which is 2bit, which is a top-tier international cryptocurrency exchange. They've got a solid interface, deep liquidity, competitive fees, and the onboarding is super simple. All you need to do is scan the QR code over there or hit the link in the description, and you can create an account. It's free. All you need is an email address. And then if you like the interface and you want to trade on it and you deposit some funds, you can avail yourself of up to $90,000 in trading rewards, as well as an immediate VIP level 1 upgrade with 50% off trading fees for life, exclusively here at the Coin Bureau. So go ahead, guys, scan that QR code and take advantage of the 2bit offer.
Absolutely. Okay, before we move on to the events in the Middle East and what they all mean for the markets, for crypto and other markets, let's just do a quick sentiment check. Busy in the comments today. Matching t-shirts must be serious. Yes, we've both gone for serious black. Nick, yours is a little frivolous there, I must say. But yes, given the circumstances, we'll let it slide this time. Lots of lovely messages. I really appreciate all these guys. Glad you're still here. Guy, you look so stressed. I think I'm holding up quite well under the circumstances, personally. Glad you guys are okay. Lovely. Thank you very much. Great to see you both safe and bringing your sense of humor. Praying for swift resolution to the war. Amen. Yes, we appreciate it very much. What else? Prayer to both you and the team. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, guys. Although regular viewer Schwab thinks that actually we'll all be working for the IRGC next week.
Well,
I'm a little more optimistic than that.
I don't necessarily want to insert myself into that little dispute right now, to be honest.
Yeah.
I know I'm not hiding out from missiles right now, but I don't intend to put my target on my back. So no.
Yeah. Well, at least it will distract from other sort of more uncomfortable things. But anyway, let's move on. Over the weekend, obviously, it all kicked off what had arguably been coming for quite a long time. This was the commencement of Operation Epic Fury, which is about as Trumpian a name for a war as you can come up with. So. President Trump confirmed the start of what he called major combat operations in Iran. I mean, it used to be called a war back in the old days, but
reminds me of that. The special military operation that Putin launched 4 years ago that was supposed to last for what, 2 weeks?
Yes, exactly. It can't just call it a war anymore. It has to be something else. So, yes, Israel and the US started bombing Iran. Over 200 Israeli aircraft reportedly struck 500 targets, including IRGC command centers, nuclear enrichment sites, missile launch facilities, the whole lot. And that was Saturday. And then on Sunday, we got the big news, right, Nick?
Exactly. So this was the main target of the attacks, the death of the supreme leader himself, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Israeli officials confirmed the body of the supreme leader was found under the rubble of his Tehran compound following the dropping of approximately 30 bunker buster munitions.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. Crazy. And beside the point, I saw Trump had been sort of quizzed about this, and he said that they actually took out in this operation, and one that went side by side with it to get these IRGC commanders. They actually took out even more people than they were expecting to, which is just kind of bizarre and terrifying at the same time. Anyway, Iran obviously retaliated. It launched hundreds of missiles and drones at US bases, bases around the whole region. That was the cause of a lot of anxiety and just crazy scenes, really, over particularly Saturday night. It was quite a thing to see.
Yeah, there was obviously a lot of videos and pictures circulating on social media, which I'm sure you guys can go and check out. And we were there as well. We saw it all. But more importantly for us here as a finance and crypto related channel, we care about the market impacts. We're not geopolitical analysts. And we're not pivoting into that just yet, and we don't intend to. So the most important question for the markets is as it relates to the impacts on the Strait of Hormuz and potential closures of the Strait of Hormuz, which now is actually in a de facto closure, right? Because the Iranian Revolutionary Guard told they moved to close the straits, and they broadcasted warnings that no vessels will be permitted to pass. And crucially, the waterway controls at least 20% of the world's oil flows through that very narrow 30 kilometer long strait, that waterway there.
Yeah. Lots of Saudi and the UAE both export a lot of oil through there, and shipping firms as well are starting to stop operations there. Major oil firms and trading houses have already suspended shipments through the strait, citing, quote, extreme security risks. And the effect of this on the oil price was obvious, right?
Was obvious indeed. So obviously the oil shot up on the open this morning, about 10% up. And also crucially, it continued rallying on the news that Saudi Arabia had closed one of the world's largest oil refineries. And this was after an Iranian drone attack. So Yeah, and they're trying to increase production. OPEC Plus will increase production by 206,000 barrels per day, but that's only in April. And it will also be considered insufficient to offset the potential loss of 8 to 10 million barrels a day.
Yeah, crazy. So the numbers involved are just head spinning, aren't they? I didn't have time to get a source for it, but I did see talk. Apparently, Qatar has shut or sort of partly shut its liquid natural gas terminal as well. I think that might have been hit by something, or maybe that's just shutting it out of caution. But obviously, like liquid natural gas, is pretty important too. Obviously, needs to be exported through the straits. So that is pretty. That's going to be impactful on prices as well. And of course, what this meant was a lot of people started heading towards safe havens and piling into the likes of gold and silver, which again isn't all that surprising.
Yeah, and gold is near its all-time highs, I think about 5,500. So piling into the safe havens, the hedges, the ultimate geopolitical hedge, it seems. And equities, stock markets are opening in about 10 minutes. The futures were looking lower. Europe opened lower as well, although I think that things could be looking a bit better when they open. The futures were trending a bit higher this morning.
Yeah. So, of course, obviously, Nick, this must have been Bitcoin's time to shine, right?
You would think. If you know the infamous GTA meme, shit, here we go again. Bitcoin collapsed on the news of the missile strike. What's also quite interesting, and I thought is quite apropos on our next story regarding the Jane Street 10 a.m. slam. It's quite ironic. It's quite a coincidence that these strikes happened at about exactly 10 a.m. local time and Dubai time. So we can call this the new 10 a.m. slam. Shall we call it the BB 10 a.m. slam?
BB slam
on the Bitcoin price.
Yes, it was odd coincidence that. But having said that, it did actually rebound a little bit. So there was obviously some bulls out there. But I guess given how badly it fell last year around the was it the 6-day? No, the 12-day war back in the summer. It could have been worse.
Yeah, exactly. Bitcoin collapsed a lot back then, like a massive gap lower on the news. And given how little Bitcoin has moved since this news broke of the war, and this time, it is interesting. Although to be fair, I think there hasn't been the leverage has already been shaken out a lot. We kind of we already did. There's not much to shake out anymore. There's no more leverage traders to shake. So far, it's holding up surprisingly well given the circumstances.
Yeah. Now, there are some signs out there. We've got to be a little bit careful because this is a situation that's sort of changing kind of minute by minute, really. There are some signs that things could maybe be calming down, we hope. Some fresh talks are apparently underway, or Iran is certainly making noises that it's keen for talks. I mean, that would be good, although, I think last summer when they struck the nuclear sites, and then again this time around, I think that was both while talks were ongoing, was it not? So you sort of think, well, I mean, if I was Iran, would I really put any faith in talks? But I suppose, talking, if they are talking to each other, that's something.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they will eventually talk, because no matter what happens, whatever side of the political divide you're on, I think we can all hope for a speedy resolution to this, and a peaceful resolution, because, it's terrible to see war, and especially quite close to us, because you feel it more than if you a world away on another continent. So let's hope that we can come to some sort of a peaceful resolution, and that the bombing stop, and people on both sides getting impacted by this.
Absolutely. I think, I mean, who knows what happens from here? It will probably look a lot different when we stream next week. And I think we're going to stream on Friday, aren't we? It's we're going to do.
Yes, we've got a FUD and FOMO on Friday, indeed.
Yeah. So yeah, there'll be a lot to talk about then. A lot will change, but I guess, for the time being, it's just markets are just going to be very, very volatile. Stocks, crypto, commodities, everything, because this is so much uncertainty. We don't know what way it's going to go from here.
Yep. But if you guys are looking to trade the chaos, be it with traditional markets, for example, metals rallying, and you want to go along gold, or you want to short the equity markets and you're a crypto native, you can actually do this on a crypto native exchange. And this is on BitGet, our second brand partner. And if you don't have an account at BitGet, you can create one right now. Just scan that QR code or hit the link in the description, and then you can go and create one. We have up to $50,000 in sign-up bonuses there as well, exclusively for our viewers. But with BitGet TradFi, you can fund it with USDT, and you can swap it for tokenized gold, and indeed use futures to trade it. So you can trade with up to 500 times leverage, although we wouldn't recommend that. And you can also enjoy deep liquidity and low slippage. So don't forget to scan the QR code, guys. Link in the description. Go over and try and trade some gold on BitGet.
Absolutely. Okay. So moving on from the crisis in the Middle East, let's talk. We've mentioned it a couple of times already, but we need to talk about Jane Street. Now, anyone unfamiliar with Jane Street, it is a famous, some would say infamous, high-frequency trading firm on Wall Street. It is actually, funnily enough, the company that brought us none other than Sam Bankman-Fried and Caroline Ellison. I think they actually met at Jane Street, if I remember rightly. So, in some ways,
what storied alumni Jane Street has.
I mean, I'm sure their photographs are framed on the wall in Jane Street's offices. So in some ways, you could argue that Jane Street is, in a way, responsible for many of crypto's ills. But the story in hand, the story of the moment, is that the Terraform Labs, or what's left of Terraform Labs, basically the entity that is overseeing the Terraform Labs bankruptcy process, is actually suing Jane Street, basically accusing it of being a key player in the collapse of UST and Luna back in 2022. Obviously, as many of you will remember, UST, this algorithmic stablecoin that was pegged, had some mint and burn mechanism going on with Luna. It entered a death spiral, and arguably that was the moment that triggered everything that came afterwards, and that kind of ended with the implosion of FTX. So hugely consequential. And Terraform Labs are basically saying that Jane Street are ultimately responsible for it.
Yeah, they are. And you broke this down very well in a video it's over on the main channel. So go and check that out, guys, so you can have a bit more of an overview of the actual court case and the accusations. But I think the more importantly, as it relates to last week, is the accusations and this theory of the infamous Jane Street 10 a.m. slam. And if you'd been on crypto Twitter at any point last week, you will no doubt have seen all of the theories, all of the hate, everyone going at Jane Street. There was a new villain in town. Move aside Wintermute, move aside Binance, move aside everyone else. Apparently now the real enemy was Jane Street. And there's no other indication that they were probably guilty than them actually deleting their tweets, all of their tweets, guy.
What?
Yeah, can you believe it, eh? They deleted all the tweets, but we'll come back to that in a bit. I actually did have a take on this as well. I'm really annoyed because if it wasn't for Jane Street manipulating the crypto market, Bitcoin would have fully followed the M2 with perfect correlation, the M2 money supply, and we would be over $200,000 now, guy.
Oh, Jane Street, bloody hell.
Jane Street.
So so we'll come back to this, but so as you mentioned, Nick, it was very much like the latest villain in town. First Wintermute, then Binance, then people were talking about some offshore Asian hedge fund. Now it's Jane Street. And actually, I think one of the best takes on all this came from Matt Hogan over at Bitwise. I think he kind of outlined it as we've been saying. It's just like, it's searching for a villain. People seem to want one sort of easy explanation, one person or entity to blame for crypto's ills, rather than just admitting that actually, the market has not been that strong. And as you can see on the screen, Matt outlines, a number of reasons why. But I've got to say, I'm with him on this one. I think it's just like, people just want someone to blame, and it's much easier to just blame someone than it is to admit that the market wasn't as healthy as we thought it was.
Yeah, in this particular case, the fact that Bitcoin sold off at 10 a.m. every single day at 10 a.m. Eastern time, there is some truth to this, to the extent that there is some market making going on the ETF side, right? So obviously the settlement, the creation and the creation and destruction of these and redemption of these shares that are needed with the ETFs, and the mechanics on the back of it in terms of buying and selling Bitcoin. So this could appear as if it's market manipulation. And there was actually an interesting theory from Jeff Park over one of the Bitwise CIO now at ProCap. And the TLDR is that these Bitcoin ETFs don't always force spot buying the way that people expect, right? So the authorized participants, so the APs in this case, those entities that go out and buy and sell the Bitcoin and create and redeem the shares, they can hedge with any amount of instruments. They can hedge with futures, and they can also, now one thing you guys should note is it's now in-kind redemption. So people can use actual physical, like Bitcoin itself, instead of just cash redemption. So this creates, then the market makers and the APs have the ability to basically drive spot markets in the way they want to a degree, and they can deliver things at different times and then settle the creation and redemption separately, and they can profit from this. That is true. So when price weakens and spot bids look thin, it feels like demand is being sidestepped, and price discovery is just getting distorted. So there is some truth to the theory that there is something happening at 10 a.m., but whether it's all just Jane Street or market mechanics, I think that this can be improved in terms of the market microstructure around ETFs and how APs settle things. But whether there is this theory of just Jane Street out there continually shorting the markets, I don't think so.
But Nick, they deleted their tweets, right? They deleted their tweets. Surely an admission of guilt. They deleted their tweets. What else is there to say?
Well, turns out, Guy, that they never tweeted anything at all, ever. So, I mean, yes, guys, you maybe wanted to check the history of their tweets to see whether this was indeed a true, a factual claim.
Right. Okay. So, yes, you can't delete tweets you never made in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, look, I mean, I think it's important to point out, like, Jane Street is, I don't think it's an entity that can be seen as a real sort of friend to the crypto industry. Not just because they produce Sam Bankman-Fried and Caroline Ellison and whoever else, but they are one of these firms sort of working away in the background, and for us mere mortals, it's kind of all happening in the shadows and stuff. And they probably do have some degree of influence over the market. But I think to try and sort of just blame it all on them, to say, like, these are the bad guys who brought down Terra, and by the way, they've also been suppressing Bitcoin's price for however long. I just think it's too easy. It's too simple an explanation.
Yeah, way too simple. And it's not just them, like I mentioned. There's authorized participants and market makers behind the scenes generally as well sometimes. But Bitcoin is also such a massive asset class now in terms of liquidity, and that for one single firm to manipulate the price that much, it's impractical. And yeah, I think it's just a matter of, it's easier just to latch onto a villain and blame one particular outcome. There are many factors. Indeed, we can point to the fact that, yes, Bitcoin has been soft since 1010. That was a massive liquidation event. Whatever you say about that, that's your own opinions. But I think that, ever since then, I think people are trying to latch on to a particular villain. And now it seems to be Jane Street, and I wonder who it's going to be this week. We'll have to see. I don't know. Who they're going to latch onto this week? Jump Trading or BlackRock or someone else? Let's
see. Well, I've got a theory, Nick, that maybe the next villain of the piece will be someone who has been sort of flying under the radar recently. We haven't seen much of him. In fact, the last time we saw him, he announced that he had basically sold all his crypto and gone into metals. So I think it's about time we heard from who could be the next villain of this cycle. And we had some TA with Lewis, right?
Yeah, play it, guys. Let's roll.
He's back.
Charts and trends, he'll show the way. Lewis brings the TA today.
What's going on, guys? I am back. It is Lewis, or King Lewis, according to Brett. Thank you very much for that, by the way. And I'm not really back. As you can see, I am in beautiful South Florida on the beach. Just, why did I say Florida? I don't know. But yeah, and I'm not really on the beach, but I have been in South Florida. I've been buying some real estate and doing some deals over here. And really just enjoying life, because nothing much has actually changed in the crypto market over the last few weeks. And I think we could just get into the charts. And what I want to do is just share my mindset around the markets and why I'm not going in super heavy into crypto right now, or haven't been, to be honest, and what I'm really waiting for and what I'm waiting to see for me to be able to go in with more confidence. So let's jump into the charts now and get right to it. Okay, so I'm going to start out and tell you that there are three things that I look for when it comes to a bottom. There is the time, there is the price, and there is a capitulation event. And so let's look at the time aspect of this right now. This right here is 2017 to 2018. This was the top and this was the bottom. And this took 364 days. That was the 2017, 2018, 2019 market, right? Then we have the same thing, 2021. November top in 2021 all the way to the November bottom in 2022. That was 364 days, the same amount of time. So for the time aspect, it's only logical that you do the same exact thing and you just take 364 days from the top of the market in October of 2025 to, and if we click on this, it would be October of 2026. Okay, so October is the time range where I think that the bottom is most likely going to be in. Although I will say, because of the institutional adoption, we might have a bottom earlier, and I will be looking for signs, and that is where either a capitulation event has to come in to play, or the price has to, do some things. And I'll just share what I would look for the price to show me that it is actually bottoming out. So going back to the 2017, 2018, 2019 cycle, you could see that we established a huge floor at around $6,000. And then there was a really, really big move down. Actually, how big was this move? This was about 38%. Wow, in one candle. I don't think we're going to get a 38% move down, this cycle, but we had a really, really big move down underneath the floor. This was literally like, this was the floor for months and months and months and months and months. So if we can create a floor and then we crash down below it, then that to me would probably be similar to a capitulation event. And that is when I would want to just basically go all in and just forget about, crypto for a while. Not forget about crypto, but not really touch anything, or just try to make as much money as possible, or do something to put more money into crypto if we can get a big move down after some type of established floor. That's number one. And if we jump over to the 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023 cycle, you could see that essentially the same thing happened here. This was a little bit different, but like it basically had a floor, right, at around $18,000. Floor, hit, okay, it's good. Now it looks like it's going up, and then bam, we had a huge candle that broke through the floor, or this was the capitulation event, right? And that marked the bottom in 2022. So, okay, we have a floor and then a giant move down in 2018 that marked the bottom. We have a floor and a giant move down in 2022 that marked the bottom. Both of those occurred 365 days from the top. So, okay, let's just say that happens to happen again in 2026. Yeah, that's going to be my signal to go all in and to put everything back into crypto, sell all the metals, even though copper has been doing fantastic. But yeah, that's going to be like the number one, number two things that I'm going to be looking for in crypto to really signify that a bottom is in. And I do have a few more things that I would love to go over, such as the moving averages, the price action, and a couple other things, but I'll save them for next week. As of right now, all I'm going to say is that, you know what, those are the things that I'm looking for to signify that the bottom is in. And right now, maybe we'll have a nice little move up, but it's really unpredictable. I am 50-50 on whether we will or whether we won't. The actual formation is not very bullish. It's actually very bearish, but the candlesticks are actually a little bit bullish. So bearish pattern with bullish candlesticks leaves me 50-50. Don't want to make a decision in those circumstances. So nothing to do there. However, that's going to be it for me for now because this is 5 minutes and I don't want to take up too much time. But I will see you next week, hopefully. And yeah, I'll bring it back to you guys.
Wow. Okay. So Lewis has pivoted to metals, and now he's pivoted from metals into Florida real estate. And he'll pivot back when Bitcoin breaks below the floor it's been going through.
I mean, this is a true trader.
Pivot, the rotational pivot goes on. You know, it's crypto stocks, real estate, crypto stocks, or crypto metals, real estate.
I love it. Good for him. Good for him. Well, it's good to have Lewis back on our screens. It's a shame he can't be with us here in Dubai, but there he is in South Florida. He seems happy and thriving, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah. Well, moisturized, enjoying it. Yes, yeah, in his lane, in his metals and South Florida real estate, lane, enjoying things. Although I hear the South Florida real estate has gone through a bit of a dip recently. So maybe he's buying the dip there,
which is being bought aggressively by Lewis, it would seem. Yeah. Okay, let's now have a look at some of the tweets of the week, shall we? I'm glad that little intro's back. Okay, so an interesting take from Rendoshi here. Payment stocks are dumping because AI agents will only use crypto. Crypto is dumping because quantum computers will steal it. Quantum stocks are dumping because analysts realize it's still decades away. I like that take. I think that's kind of true.
Everything's dumping. The circular flow of FUD going from one sector to another all feeds into each other at the end of the day.
Yeah. Do you think maybe quantum computing then could end up the next nuclear fusion? You know, this incredible technology that's sort of perennially 20 years away.
Just 2-3 years away. Goes on for like 20 years. It'd be 2-3 years away for 20 years or something. Yeah.
It just goes on tanking Bitcoin for 20 years without actually delivering. Wouldn't that be the absolute worst of both worlds? Okay, next we have this one from what's going on here, Nick?
Okay, it's a bit of context. Last week on Tuesday, I believe, Zach XBT dropped a big one. He said, I am going to be releasing a new major investigation on February 26th, which was on the Thursday, so 2 days to come from the initial announcement. And he said, one of crypto's most profitable businesses where multiple employees abused internal data to insider trade over a prolonged period of time. And obviously everyone who on the crypto Twitter sphere decided to speculate. And some of the most amazing takes, the most hilarious takes were the ones that were related to, we can narrow it down to only at least maybe 1 or 2 companies because there was an important caveat. It was, quote, one of the most profitable businesses. So you get the when every crypto project after reading profitable in Zach XBT's post, because of course they're not profitable. Or I love Starknet, like literally a crypto project.
And props to them. I think can't be us then. Well played, Starknet. But yes, tons of it. And then the great one from KP there. Well, it's got to be an NFT marketplace, right? And then Zach. I stated profitable. Oh dear. NFTs just can't catch a break.
What a time to be alive. And what's the craziest stuff? It's a bit of a, that actually there was a market created on Polymarket for which company or project would be exposed in Zach XBT's expose. And it came to light that prior to this announcement, people had been insider trading the market that was designed to catch insider traders. So insider traders, which inside trading information on who is going to be exposed as an insider trader.
Again, like I said earlier, the sort of thing that can only exist in 2026.
Oh man, we're not a serious industry.
I don't think we're a very serious century, to be honest.
Oh my
God. Let's move on then. We also had this tweet as well. Michael Saylor, Bitcoin on sale. Oh, Peter Schiff, he just couldn't resist, couldn't it? Could he?
What
yes,
a banger!
Going out of business sale.
Yeah, he gets credit for that banger. Good reply, mate. Good reply.
Yeah, Peter. One day you'll be laughing on the other side of your face, but that day seems like a bit of a long way off at the moment. So enjoy your extended victory lap while it lasts, I suppose.
Some dates to diary, guys. It's going to be a busy week. Obviously, everyone's going to be focused on what's going on in the Middle East. It seems like this, at least according to what Trump has stated and what the war game aims are, could go on for a few weeks. But in terms of other stuff going down, another big announcement that could come out sometime this week is the release of DeepSeek's latest model. So if you guys don't recall, last year January, DeepSeek, which is a Chinese AI lab, released a model update that trumped a lot of the Western models, and it caused a collapse in prices and stock prices of many of the US-based AI-based companies. So they released in version 4 in the coming week. So keep an eye out for that. And then today we have coming out soon, I think probably maybe out already. This is the ISM numbers. No, it's coming out in the next 1.5 hours. Is the ISM manufacturing PMI. It's an important data point because this shows whether there's growth in the US economy on the manufacturing sector at least. And if you'll recall, many crypto influencers had pivoted away from the M2 indicator to the PMI indicator as their North Star in terms of the next data point to watch whether we're going to rally. And so far we haven't, but maybe this time we're lucky.
Maybe this time. Okay. Thursday, initial jobless claims, more unemployment data, I should say.
Yeah, then on Friday, the big one, non-farm payrolls for February, the consensus is 130,000 and the forecast is 70K. And then we've also got unemployment rate. So this is February and the consensus there is 4.3%.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and Friday, the 6th of March, non-farm payrolls, consensus 130K, forecast 70K.
I think that's a bit of a. I need to check into those numbers, but that, I mentioned the non-farm payrolls. That's on Friday. Sorry, the initial jobless claims was on Thursday. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and Friday also has the unemployment rate for February. Consensus 4.3, forecast 4.3. Yeah. Well, we'll see about that. Given how employment statistics have been massively recalculated.
Exactly over last year. Yeah. Cool. So how's the comments looking?
Good. Again, really appreciate everyone in the comments sending us good wishes. And yes, long may it continue. Rusty is sending love to anyone in the Middle East right now. Yes, very much appreciated. It is, like I say, it is a bit strange, but it's not. Be wary of misinformation and people getting hysterical and stuff. It is kind of spicy, but it's not as bad as people are making out. And lots of love for both. Glad you're both well. Very much appreciated. Interesting take from E. Blanco here. I've said it before and we'll say it again. Crypto welcomed in the Trojan horse of centralization, disguised institutions, and then they came out at night or 10 a.m. and plundered our precious profits.
Possibly. I mean, it is becoming an institutionalized asset class now.
Yeah, and we have definitely lost something by that. Lots of people very pleased to see Lewis back, as are we, of course. Has anyone compared Lewis to Clark Kent? Yeah, I think we need to be asking questions about that.
Sometimes the comparisons also like questions is Lewis Guy's AI twin, American AI twin? I can kind of see that slightly.
Yes, I can't possibly comment on that. I like this comparison. Michael and Peter are like Khabib versus McGregor. So I would have Michael Saylor as more sort of Conor McGregor energy and
that is true. That is true. Given his energy over the cockiness when Bitcoin was rallying, and was going through the roof, and now Peter's Schiff comes out, the underdog comes out, and he comes out inside and humbles him. Yeah.
I have a question for Brett, our most loyal viewer, Brett. He's claiming to be drinking a long black coffee. right now. Brett, if you're based in Australia, what are you doing? It's like, it must be late at night there. What on earth are you doing drinking coffee at that time? When do you sleep? What is going on? We need to be told.
Also, what's the alpha on the coffee? Like, guys have become a coffee aficionado with his beans and his grinder in the office. We need the coffee alpha.
Yeah. What's the best coffee for the office when we're actually back there? So yeah, well, okay, folks, it's been an eventful few days. I think we've got an eventful few days coming up. The crypto market is going to be volatile, as are other markets, I guess. So we will be back with you on Friday for our FUD and FOMO live stream. Maybe joined by Lewis, but I'm not sure yet. We'll get a third Coin Bureau head involved. Hopefully we'll have good news to talk about in terms of what's happening in the Middle East. But I mean, who knows?
Yeah, let's see. Let's hope for some peace, guys, please.
Yeah, absolutely. But thank you everyone for joining us. And again, thank you for all the good wishes. We really do appreciate it. And we are staying safe, taking precautions. As you can see, we're broadcasting not from our usual studio at the moment. So thank you for your good wishes to us and the rest of the Coin Bureau team. We really do appreciate it, and we will stay safe, and we will be back on your screens before very long. So take care, everyone. See you soon.
See you soon, guys. Cheers.
Let's go! Biggest threat to my portfolio is Guys TA. Good afternoon to the #1 crypto channel. Nick's hair has me sunk a lip guitarist vibes. You guys crack me up. Love the stash, Nick Diggler. Nick looking, you'll find him in the bookstore later today.